Hundreds of hours, late nights, blood, sweat, and tears. Built not bought, a dying breed.
Welcome to episode 13 of eirweld, and in this episode we're going to try and do a little bit better than this Heath Robinson machine. Enjoy. So I started a job a long time ago with this compressor. It's belonged to an uncle of mine, and for a lot of reasons it took till now to get it done. So I've been tipping away at it, doing bits and pieces, and I will put in footage of that, but basically took it apart. It had a lot of corrosion damage inside, so used some electrolysis to clean it, cleaned it out, then just wasn't really happy with the way the wheels were, so did a bit of fabrication, put on some new wheels, raised it up off the ground a bit. The reason for that is I wanted some good access here for a valve to be able to let out excess water, and I kind of have it ready to go back together now. So I extended the mount for the switch here, because with the new switch I've got a near water separator, again to try and at least indicate when there's water in the air, and I'm going to do a small piece in this switch. So in the meantime I've rebuilt a few compressors, and I've had a couple of issues with switches, so this is now my preferred switch, and we'll go into that there in a second. What else do I need to do? I need to put a cover on the front and the back, and I need to put on the electrical box and wire it up. But we'll start by mounting all the air stuff. But wait, I bet you want to know about the cleaning. Okay, so it's wintry December day, but and I kind of hit a wall, because I put some ball bearings off a bike into it, and I was trying to strap it to my concrete mixer, and that wasn't pretty. That wasn't going to work, and I thought about all sorts of things along the way, maybe strapping to a tractor wheel that was jacked up just to clean the inside. But I've seen a video there on TikTok, a man over in America, I'll find his name, but you can clean these things using electrolysis. So what I need to do is fill it up with water. I've plugged the holes. Don't mind the water on the floor, that's just because I have some water in it, but it ran down the side. But I plugged the holes in the bottom of the compressor. I've got some baking soda, which I'm going to mix in with the water. I've got a rod, and it's insulated at the end. So basically the rod will go inside. It'll be filled with water and baking soda, which will make an electrolyte. We're going to get the battery charger. We're going to see how that cleans it. So stay tuned. So we're all set up. I've got my anode down inside the tank. It's got a bit of insulation tape there, and on the bottom to insulate it from the tank. So you've got the anode there, and then the whole tank itself is the cathode. Now I set it up to the battery charger, and as crusty as this battery charger looks, it's not like your old type one. If it doesn't detect a battery, it won't charge. So it was coming up as battery very low damage, the third light down there. So a little workaround with that is I put a battery into the circuit, so the charger is charging the battery, and then the battery is providing the power to the electrolysis. Now, normally if you do this in a bucket, you'd be able to see what's going on, but we can't. But I do know from watching the battery here, so at the moment it's saying it's fully charged, but then it must be discharging something, because every couple of minutes the charging light will come on there, so there's definitely something happening. But this is a slow process, it's not a spectator sport, so just have to leave it be for a while. Okay, so it's been about 6 hours, and I've just disconnected all the power, and let's have a look. So you can see there's a nice bit of crud. I'm going to let this out now, and I mightn't be able to video it outside in the dark, but basically the next plan is to plug this end, turn it around so that this end here gets cleaned. Hopefully the bottom's been cleaned now. But it looks like it worked, so let's see. Turn it over there. I couldn't find a fitting to plug this one, so look at the crud. So that's definitely better off out than in, isn't it? Not so bad. So now the compressor got it clean after the electrolysis. I've welded on a new wheel bracket. Wasn't very happy with the older ones. I've given it a good clean. I should just spot it over there now, but I gave it a good clean with the wire wheel and got in with the hand wire brush in places I couldn't get the wire wheel in. And the next step now is we're going to give some of the inaccessible areas that didn't get as good a clean as I could give it a treatment with otter oil, which is going to push out any moisture and seal it. And it's going to get primer and a coat of paint, and ready for the next step then. So this is the pressure switch that I'm going to install in the compressor there. I have a spare one here. In fact, I'm going to stock them in the shop itself. So it's a Candor MDR 111, and this is the 3/8 version. So just open her up. So one of the main reasons I like this switch is the fit in here for the pressure relief for the air. So on the ones I've had trouble with, the Chinese ones, so this is a German made switch, there's usually a kind of a screw fitting in there, and it is awful easy to over tighten it. You know, you're putting on air fittings, you're torquing them up to make sure they're good and tight and not going to leak, and then there's this delicate little one that needs, you know, barely more than hand tight, and next thing you over tighten it, gone. The whole thing is fuked. So this one's got a 3-port, so you'll see on the compressor in a minute now. I'm going to use one for a gauge. Obviously your feed from your tank comes up here, and then you can have 2 for air fittings themselves. And then on the top, so there's 2 settings on it. There's auto, where it'll there now. I can make this easier. There's auto and off. So on auto, it's going to let the air compressor build up and then switch off, and then off is very differently off. And you just open this screw here. I'm going to show you that when we're wiring it up. Not crazy money, German made switch, good high quality switch. That's what I'm going for. So here you can see my pressure relief pipe here, or siphon pipe coming off the one-way valve. So air comes in here through a one-way valve. That's how it builds up pressure. But there's a little siphon pipe that's going to go up to your switch, up to this little air connect here. And the idea of this is that when your pump finishes and stops, this delivery pipe between here and the top of the compressor is pressurized. And if you try and restart that pump, that pressurized air is going to mean that it's very hard for that to start. And you'll find that sometimes with compressors that are blown fuses, is that there's an issue with either the switch or the one-way valve, because this pipe and the delivery pipe have to be released of air when the compressor's finished filling. The one-way valve here means that the tank pressure is separate. So, like I was saying about this switch, it's literally, that's it. It's connected, and if you want to take it out, you just press that little tab and it'll come out again. No spanner or anything like that. So there we have it. We have the pressure switch itself. I've got my air water separator. I've got a quick release there. I've got a clock telling me what my pressure is. On the far side then, I've got another quick quick release, but that's, we'll say, straight on to unregulated air. So for the likes of pumping tires, you'd have that, whereas the regulated air might be for an air tool. And then I've got a main gauge telling me how much pressure is in the tank itself. So we have them together, and we're ready to run it up to pressure for the first time. So I'd like to check everything is right. So my drain valve is off. I have another valve this other side, and I want to replace this with a bung. That's off. I've checked all my connections, so let's go. Now, so I'm seeing that she's struggling to get to the top pressure, so I've got my little squirty bottle of soapy water, and I can check for leaks. There you have it. So I need to tighten that up, but I can also check things like the valve at the bottom. Just make sure there's no leak there. Check this valve, and we'll check the non-return valve as well. One spray bit up here. That's the output from the pump. So the issue here was that there wasn't enough tape or sealing on the pressure switch. So in order to take off the pressure switch, I have to let all the air out of the tank and then disconnect the pressure switch from the electrical supply. Also, at this point in time, I did something else stupid. I didn't connect the microphone to the phone, so there is no audio for the next section. But all I can tell you is that ran the compressor, checked that everything had sealed. Here you can see there's still a small leak, so it's back to the drawing board again. Disconnect everything and put more plumber's tape, more PTFE tape, and maybe put another twist on the connection for the pressure switch. So as you can see, the compressor is spinning away. Again, apologies, no audio, but you can see it's slowly building up there in the gauge. So if you look closely at the gauge here, you will see that the needle has actually gone off the scale. And I'm probably trying to explain here that there's a procedure now for adjusting the cutoff pressure on the pressure switch, and that's what I'm going to go through next. So the MDR1 comes with a great set of instructions and a link to a YouTube video, but in essence, if you want to change the cutoff pressure, you do so with this screw here. And you can also change the differential pressure, so the pressure at which the compressor cuts back in at as well. But I'm going to show you this procedure now. It's quite simple. So there's a single screw on the top of the plastic housing of the switch. Undo that with the screwdriver and remove the plastic housing, and then there is your adjustment screw. So make an adjustment, put your plastic housing back on, and you're ready then to test the compressor. So at this point the tank is full, so I'm going to let out a bit of air, let the pressure build back up, and see what pressure we end up with. So you can't see it here, but I'm operating the valve. You can see the gauge dropping there, and the compressor will kick back in. And now sit back and wait and see where the pressure switch is going to cut out, and if I'm happy with that number that I reached. So I can see here that the needle has still gone off the scale, so off the compressor and do a readjustment again. Now we're bang on at the end of the scale there at 7 bar, so I'm happy out. Compressor has stopped, and now I need to tidy up a few bits and get this compressor ready to give to my uncle. Now, with all the fittings that we've done here, it wouldn't complete the video if I didn't do a bit of a lesson about tape. So here I'm showing you how I tape up my joints and the threads. So you don't use the tape the full width. You actually twist it a bit so that it goes on almost like a string, and it fills all the threads entirely. The other thing is you need to do it counter to the direction of the tightening of the thread. Now I do at the end, when I'm finishing up, keep the tape at full width, and it just kind of finishes the whole lot off. Smooth your PTFE in, and then of course do it again for the other side of the fitting. Now that's the two sides of that fitting done. Ready to move on to the next step. So next what I'm doing is I'm putting an end cap onto this fitting, which is called a nipple, and that's going to replace that ugly looking valve that's sitting at the end of the compressor. So threading that on, and then I'm going to use my adjustable spanner, a tool that gets an awful lot of hate, but I think it's ideal, especially for the kind of airline fittings and plumbing fittings here. Tighten everything up, and we're ready to go again. So one of the last jobs here now is to adjust the anti-vibration mount on the underside of the front of the compressor. So I want it to sit level so that any condensation that builds up will flow to the back. So that's what I'm doing here. I picked up a fairly meaty anti-vibration mount and just adjusting that and getting it ready. And now we're down to the nice bits and pieces. So this compressor job has taken a while. It's been sitting in the container, so it's covered in muck and crud. So a bit of the same soapy solution. Going to give it a rub down and get it ready for delivery. That is the satisfying sound I've been waiting for, but I thought I was finished, but I'm not. It's a couple of days later and I'm back because I woke one night and I remembered this vital piece. It's called the pressure relief valve. So basically, and if actually at the back, if you go back to the first video in this series, that was the issue that was problem. The compressor was constantly pumping and the air was coming out to the air relief valve. So the purpose of this is that if the switch ever fails for whatever reason, this is a safety valve to blow off any air from the tank and stop it from exploding. Now, so there you have it. That's the compressor completely finished. Safety issues addressed. She's holding pressure. And for my uncle here and his small farm and fleet, it'll do him just fine. So yeah, any questions, leave them in the comments. Don't forget to follow me for more, and don't forget to check out our shop, eirweld.ie, for all your welding and tool items. All right, see you in the next one.